Guys, so what I'm going to do is just very quickly show you how to use these PASCO sensors to make temperature recordings, okay? So when you open up the app, it's going to look like this. You've got a few different choices. The one that we're interested in is at the bottom where it says Build New Experiment. So we're going to touch that. This is going to what it'll say select a layout. So I'm just going to choose this basic one at the right here. Then we get a few options of things to choose. We just want the graph. So I'm going to choose the graph at the top left there. Okay, so that opens up a graph like this. Now the next thing for us to do is to connect our sensors. So the Bluetooth button is at the top right here. So I open this up. You might see a whole bunch of different sensors. Let me just kind of close these ones down so you can see what it'll look like for you guys. So when you switch the sensor on, it'll appear here. You can see that the coder, there's a number on the sensor, there's a number that appears in the option here. Make sure that the ones that you're connecting to actually match to the ones that you're using, okay? Everybody's going to be switching on these thermometers at the same time, and if you accidentally click on the wrong one, you're going to connect to somebody else's thermometer and then they won't be able to connect to it, okay? So I'm going to choose this one. That's one of the ones that I'm using, so 768, and that's great, it's connected. I'm going to choose this one. Give it a second, and it's connected. Now you might find when you do this, when you connect to it, that you might get a message that says something about data. Just click delete. That's basically the data from the last time it was used. Well, we don't want the last time data, so just delete that data like that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. You're kind of set to go to begin recording. Now we want both of these sensors to be on the same graph. Okay, so this is a little awkward to see. You look at your graph here, and if you kind of click. So here, if you touch somewhere around here, you'll see that this plus button appears at the top there. Okay, let me just do it again there. So I just press here, that plus button appears. So I'm going to press that plus button, and that gives me the chance to add two y-axes. That basically means that I can have two thermometers. Okay, so we got these two bits in red. I think it says select measurement. So the one on the left, I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to make that my sensor 768. I'm going to choose that. The one on the right, I'm going to open up. And I'm going to choose the other sensor, 665. Okay, so that now is going to record both of these sensors onto the graph. Okay, now what you guys will want to do is to get everything set up. So get your hot water, get your cold water. Make sure you put them into the polystyrene box. Get everything set up so you're ready. Put the hot water together. Put the probes in. Give it a second to let them reach equilibrium. And then you're going to hit the start button down at the bottom here. So as soon as I press this, it'll begin recording. Okay, so you can see that it's recording the temperatures now. Now it's kind of steady, not much is happening because I've just got them sitting on the table, but I'll pick one of them up. Okay, so it's in my hand, you see, oh, there you go, great. The temperature's starting to rise. Now, one of the really cool things about PASCO and the way that it works with this graph is that you don't need to zoom in, zoom out. It will automatically adjust the axes so that the data fits into it. Okay, so if I let this go now, you should see that that one starts to cool down. The other one, I'll pick it up. You should see that its temperature is starting to go up. Okay, it's gone up really quickly there for some reason. Okay, but the whole time the axes are adjusting themselves. I don't need to do it. And honestly, it's better if you don't try and manually adjust it, because when you do, sometimes you can go too far and you can lose the graph and you can't see what's going on. Okay, if something like that happens, say you're zooming in and you mess things up and now you're looking at a blank space or you can't see your whole graph. Down on the bottom here, you've got some, just below the graph, you've got some options. The second one, if you press this, it'll reset your graph to make the axes fit so that you can see all of the graph the way that you would want to, like that. Okay. Now, for you guys, what you're looking for is equilibrium. So once the two temperatures that you're measuring meet, once those graphs meet, that's it, you're done. So then you can press the stop button like that, and then you've got your data recorded that way. Okay. There are other things you can do on here. You can give your graph a title here. So you can go into there and you can edit that. So you can give it a title that makes sense for you. You can draw on the graph as well. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do, but we don't need to worry too much about that. Okay. Once you've got the graph, you can screenshot it and then share it with yourself. And then the data itself, you can go here. If you come to the share button here, and then you can share data, and it'll share it as an Excel file. And so then, if you wanted to create the graph using Excel, or if you wanted to create a graph using Google Sheets, or if you wanted to share the data with the other people in your group, that's something that you could do. Okay. Now you guys are going to do two runs. Okay, so the first one's going to be with water. The second one is going to be with oil. So then what you would do is just get your equipment set up, get the hot water, get the oil, get everything ready. And then when you're ready to start, you just hit the start button. You get your thermometers into the liquids, and you hit the start button, and it'll start a second run like this. Okay, and so it's recording the data, and if I pick them up, see the temperature's going to go up. Put them down, then they should start to begin to go down like this. Okay. Now the really cool thing about this is once you're done with this, and you hit the stop button. So there we go. So we finished our measurements. On the graph itself, you can see we've got run 1, run 2. So I can actually open up the data for both of those, and I can do a straight up comparison for the 2 different runs that I've done. The one with the water, the one with the oil, like that. Okay. Is there anything else you guys need? If you're playing around with it and you do a few runs beforehand that you don't want, if you don't want them, you can just sort of unselect them like this. But if they're getting in the way and you're getting a bit annoyed with it, you can come to, sorry, not that one. You can come to here, manage runs, and then you can delete any of the runs that you don't want. So if you don't want any of the data, if you want to start all over again, you can delete all of them like that. And then we're back to the beginning like this. Okay. So, yeah, have a go at it. And if you got questions, make sure you ask.